Hello, welcome everybody to Deakin's Open Day, and in particular to this session about the Bachelor of Forensic Science. So my name's Annalisa Durdle. I'm part of the forensic teaching team here at Deakin, and I'm going to have a chat to you about what the Bachelor of Forensic Science and Bachelor of Forensic Science and Bachelor of Criminology courses entail. And of course, after this, we're going to have a question and answer session. So if you have any questions, I'll be there with some of my colleagues to kind of answer anything that you might want to query. So here at Deakin, we offer the Bachelor of Forensic Science that is basically a sole degree, and then we can also offer it in conjunction with the Bachelor of Criminology as well. So we have a lot of students that choose to do that option, but it's an extra year of study. So you complete that over 4 years rather than just 3 years for the Bachelor of Forensic Science. And we do have within the forensic science component 2 major sequences. We have forensic biology, and we also have the forensic chemistry major sequence as well. So a bit further on, I'll be talking to you about what each of those actually involves. I do know that sometimes when I chat to students at open days, they may have a real preference for biology or chemistry based on their experiences at school, for example, but we do teach you both in the first years, because you actually might discover that you have a love for one or the other that you didn't actually realise, or a real aptitude as well. So you may actually kind of reconsider what you actually want to do as you go along as well. The Bachelor of Forensic Science is only offered at the Geelong Cons campus. The reason for this is that we've got some great facilities on this campus, including a crime scene house, that we unfortunately don't have on the other campuses. So we do want to give you a really authentic experience. And so we do want to be able to utilise this crime scene house as much as we can. So while we do have a lot of people that are like, can't you put it on the Burwood campus as well? Unfortunately, because of the facilities that we use, we aren't able to do that. So I'll just try and move you out so you can see the rest of my team here as well. So there's 3 of us in the forensic teaching team, and we're all super passionate about forensic science. I know I can certainly talk all day about it. So there's 3 of us, and we all have different expertise. So we've got here on the left, we've got Michelle Harvey. So her area of expertise is forensic entomology. So that's the use of insects in criminal investigations. And she also is an expert in decomposition. So she has done research at the body farms in the States, and has her own decomp field here at Deakin as well, where she continues that research and also does a lot of teaching in that area as well. The chap in the middle is Xavier Conlon. So his expertise is actually chemistry. I do know how you Victorians in particular feel about AFL, so full disclosure, he is an Essendon supporter. Hopefully that doesn't prejudice you against taking our course. But he is an excellent chemist. He does advise on criminal cases in that area as well. And the hobbit in the right-hand side there is obviously myself. I am a forensic biologist. I did used to work with Victoria Police as a forensic scientist before coming to teach at Deakin. Do provide some consulting in cases as well. But the 3 of us, we kind of cover the major aspects of forensic science, and we do also have kind of a broader expertise in the area as well. So what forensic science is basically the application of science in a legal framework. So basically in relation to criminal cases. Now the big thing, the big word we've got to focus on is science. You can't be a good forensic scientist without being a good scientist. So a lot of the techniques and applications and things that we use are actually used in a broad range of sciences. We just apply it to a legal context. So what we want to offer you at Deakin, and which we do with the Bachelor of Forensic Science and the Criminology double degree, is a really holistic degree. We want it to be really authentic, because obviously there can be misconceptions about what is actually involved in forensic science and being a forensic scientist. So we want you to be experiencing how it would be in the real world working as a forensic scientist, and we really want to keep you engaged and interested in that as well. So ultimately we want to prepare you to go out in the workforce, and we're going to equip you with a very unique set of specific and transferable skills. So we want you to be able to be excellent scientists, but we also want you to be great problem solvers, really good critical thinkers, really good communicators, because these are all really important skills, not just in forensic science, but in many workplaces that you might go into. And we want you to be able to actually potentially go into other industries that you might actually be interested in. And we want you to be fully equipped to go into whatever employment you choose to go to at the end of this degree. So what are you going to actually experience as you go through this course? Well, we've got a lot of different aspects, because we really want you to be experiencing the whole gamut of being a forensic scientist. So that's basically starting at a crime scene, heading into the lab, applying those scientific techniques that you learn, developing results, communicating them, and ultimately testifying in court if that's what's required. So we do get you at one stage to go into a court, not available at the moment because jury trials have been suspended, but that's an opportunity that we get you to go in there and actually see what that court environment is like and how you think you might feel in that situation. We also bring guest speakers in from industry. So we do have speakers from Victoria Police and also Australian Federal Police, for example, who will come in and actually talk about their experiences, or may actually just lecture to you on their discipline and their area of expertise. Like I've mentioned, we do have a crime scene house. So we're able to set up a variety of different kind of scenarios in those that crime scene house. We have a car outside, we have a garden, and we can let you go in there and examine the scene as you will, depending on what discipline, and bring it back to the laboratory, where you will then go and apply your scientific skills in order to actually examine that evidence as you would in a real forensic laboratory. We also have some moot courts, so where you will be required to testify and actually be that expert on the stand. We do have a lot of emphasis on teamwork. The reality is, when you go into a workplace, you're going to be working with a variety of people from a variety of cultures, variety of ages, all this sort of thing. So we really want you to engage in teamwork and build up those teamwork skills too. There are the opportunity to do some research projects, particularly if you go on to do an honours degree. But certain units will give you the opportunity to do some research there as well. See if that's an area you are interested in as well in terms of a career path. So this is just an example. We've got pictures, some of it from our crime scene house. I really do want to emphasise we have biology and chemistry, and people tend to relate that to maybe DNA, fingerprints and drugs. We do have decomposition. If you're doing the biology stream particularly, you will be collecting your maggots from the decomposition facility that we have here and rearing them. We do look at things like question documents, ballistics, fire and arson. We do look at a whole range of different disciplines to give you an idea really of the broad employment opportunities that might be out there and what the broad spectrum of forensic science actually entails. So we do have a big emphasis on communicating, because it's a very important part of being a forensic scientist, or often a scientist generally. So you might be required to actually write a scientific report as part of your units in there as well. But also we might have where you are required to actually write a forensic statement, in the way the Victoria Police would present a statement of their findings to a court. You might just write a case report. You're summing up all the evidence in that case, and you may even be briefing a detective or informants or police people in terms of your findings. We also have some units where you're required to present a poster, and this is because if you do research, often you go to seminars and you actually have to present your findings in a poster format, so it needs to be very succinct and very easy to read, and has a certain manner of communicating as well. So we would prefer you to have that skill too. And of course, I've mentioned moot courts, a different level of communication, because in court you might be communicating your findings to a jury. Some of those members of the jury may have no scientific education. They may have low education levels depending on their background as well, or they may be highly educated but in a very different area. So we need you to be able to communicate in what we call layman's terms, so a broad range of people can actually understand your findings. So in terms of the entry requirements, Bachelor of Forensic Science has an ATAR of 60.4, and for the double, Bachelor of Forensic Science and Bachelor of Criminology, it's a bit higher there at 65.35. You don't need to have had, you know, a certain level of maths or chemistry or biology to get in. You really just need proficiency in English. And so in relation to that, we do understand that some people have come in potentially without that background in things like chemistry. So we do have, you know, units that will facilitate your understanding up to a certain level in the first year units, so that you are comfortable with that level of particularly chemistry. We find that tends to be the one that students struggle with most initially. So we do kind of assist you in getting up to the required levels that you'll need to do. So these are the major sequences: forensic biology and forensic chemistry. We have basically, these are the core subjects that you'll have to do in these streams. We also have core subjects for the Bachelor of Forensic Science generally, and then there will also be core subjects specifically for the units. So if you're going through the biology sequence, you will be doing biochemistry, some physiology, genetics and genomics, forensic genomics, genomes and bioinformatics, and advanced topics in forensic biology, which is split essentially into entomology and developing research projects and things, and then also doing analysis on biological material and DNA profiles and things as well. And in the chemistry, we've got chemistry, the enabling science, we've got separation science, organic chem, analytical chem, synthetic and medicinal chem, and toxicology as well. So those are all kind of the drug areas, or your kind of, you know, alcohol and blood and all that kind of thing, that side of the chemistry. So this is what your forensic science course structure will actually look like. So I mentioned earlier, in that first year, you're going to do kind of a broad range of subjects. So you can see in there we've got some biology, we've also got chemistry, and we have some fundamental forensic science and statistics, and also some law in there as well. So the ones in those darker blue colours are the core units. You'll have to do this. So you only really have one elective unit where you get to choose a unit of your choice in there as well. So this will give you a really good idea. If you're not quite sure which stream you want to do, this might actually give you an idea. Now you can see all those orange areas are elective units. So you can actually, if you're just doing the Bachelor of Forensic Science, you can actually complete both major streams, because you will use those elective unit spaces to do the core units of the alternate stream. So you might be enrolled in forensic biology stream, you use the elective units to do all the chemistry core units, and then you come out with both majors, which can be very useful if you enjoy both disciplines, but you also want to broaden your employment opportunities at the end potentially. Unfortunately, if you do the forensic science with criminology, you don't get the option to do both streams, because you don't have those that number of elective units that will allow you to do the core units from both streams there as well. So you can see a lot of our major units come up in the second year and third year as well, where these will be kind of either one stream or the other. So plenty of forensic science in there to keep you interested. So doing the criminology, this is a choice for a lot of students, and they're actually very different disciplines. So obviously the forensic science is science, it's the investigation of the evidence, but the criminology side is really looking at criminal policy, the legal system, motivations behind criminal behaviour. As a forensic scientist working in the lab, you kind of don't get to assess that criminal behaviour. That can be a very interesting complement to the science side as well. Or the science can certainly complement the criminology side if you were choosing to go more down a policy path. If you're interested in that for your career, or working in the corrections department or something like that, can be very interesting for you to actually have a knowledge of the science behind what you're working in as well. So I've kind of mentioned already about being work ready, the fact that we really want to build these transferable skills throughout the course. We actually find that our forensic science graduates are not just sought after in forensic science industry, but also the kind of industries such as banking, or areas that require critical thinking or problem solving, because that's one of the really transferable skills that we really try and develop through this course as well. We do want you to have that genuine, authentic experience. So given that we're based in Victoria, we very strongly base our laboratory procedures and crime scene procedures on the Victoria Police processes. So we'll be using the same techniques, similar instruments, the same sort of documentation, the same statement structure, all those sort of things replicate what actually happens in the Victoria Police Forensic Laboratory. Like I mentioned earlier, also research projects, particularly if you go on to do honours. A lot of the honours projects are actually based at the Victoria Police Forensic Laboratory. Great opportunity to network and see what it's actually like to work there. There may also be internships available at different industries and placements in different industry areas as well. This can be limited with the actual police, or Victoria Institute of Forensic Medicine does a lot of the toxicology and pathology side of it, purely for confidentiality reasons and other reasons like that. But there are certainly a number of industrial laboratories we have connections with that you might be able to actually get those placements in. We all have strong connection. We do a lot of research with VicPol, with the Victoria Institute of Forensic Medicine, with the Federal Police and other laboratories as well. So the three of us, Michelle, Xavier and I, all members of the teaching team, have very strong research connections and industry connections as well. So we can stay on top of what is actually happening in the industry now and bring that into our teaching too. We're also all members of the Australian New Zealand Forensic Science Society, and we certainly encourage our students to become members as well, because they offer a lot of really great presentations, networking opportunities, symposiums and things like that that can really be fascinating for a forensic science student, and actually great in terms of building your career and your networks. So I've got them down here as well, but the other society we encourage you to join is the Forensic Society at Deakin University, known as DUFS. So these guys are a great social crowd. They're actually the biggest student society on campus. And while they have a lot of social occasions, they actually organise really interesting talks from interesting speakers. They may organise tours through the morgue in a medical department at the university and things like that. So it's a great opportunity to meet with like-minded people. And sometimes when you're fascinated in the gory bits of forensic science, you might feel like you're a pariah amongst your other friends. So it's nice to be hanging out with people who are very like-minded in that area. So our course is actually professionally accredited, and we're very proud of this. So it's been accredited by the Chartered Society of Forensic Sciences, and that means that we regularly have to engage with them in terms of the accreditation process, where they essentially audit our course. Are we meeting good standards? Are we teaching what is contemporary in the field? Are we engaging with industry a lot? And they assess this. They may make recommendations in some areas, but we get very, very good accreditation reviews from the committee every time, and we're super proud of this. And it also keeps us on our toes and makes sure that we're actually providing the best product possible for our students. So you can see there a quote: as chair, I not only like to see a strong educational course with specialist staff and superb facilities and resources, but I also like to see a supportive external advisory board, and all these ingredients were present with Deakin University. So we do have an advisory board where we have members of Victoria Police, Victoria Institute of Forensic Medicine, legal people from the legal fraternity, and all these people who are advising us on what they might want to see in our course, and actually keeping us relevant to industry, and we really appreciate their participation for sure. But obviously the critical question is, well, what am I actually going to get out of this course at the end of the day? In terms of graduate employment outcomes, I think the one that people primarily think of is the Victoria Police Laboratory, which is the Victoria Police Forensic Services Department, based at McLeod in Melbourne. Now, different jurisdictions operate very differently. So here in Victoria, this is the Forensic Service Department, and it is aligned very much with the police. In other jurisdictions, it might be aligned with the health department, or some of it's with the police, some with the health department, some with the attorney's office. So, you know, you've certainly got a number of different laboratories that you can work in Australia, around the world, certainly with this accredited course. And they all run differently. So in terms of the VicPol Forensic Services Department, if you really want to get into something like crime scenes and going to those major crime scenes, in Victoria you actually need to be a member of the police force to do those major crime scenes. But the scientists and the unsworn, or the civilians, are heavily involved in other areas of the science, like the chemistry and the biology, and other areas like that as well. So certainly the chemists do a lot of work with drugs, but they may also be going out to fire and arson scenes as a non-sworn officer or a non-sworn member of the department. So lots and lots of different disciplines are at that lab as well. Some instances you might need to be a police officer, but other jurisdictions you'll be able to be a scientist and work in that area. Victoria Institute of Forensic Medicine does, like I said earlier, toxicology, pathology, and that kind of area. So we certainly have a lot of our graduates working in these two laboratories. We have had really good feedback, particularly from Victoria Police, that really like the quality of our students. And we find when jobs come up, our students are regularly and more often than not getting those jobs. So we've got them in the biology department, property management department, chemistry areas. We also have them in fingerprints. So they've gone into a broad range of disciplines there, and super proud of them. And we really want to assist you in that. So we are happy if you're applying for jobs in these roles or any forensic role to sit down, help you with review your application, maybe give you a mock interview and things as well. So we have lots of employment graduates employed in there. We also have a lot of our students tend to go into actual policing. And so we have a lot of students who become police. We also have students who are working as scientists with the federal police. And not just here in Victoria, but in other states as well. And of course, you know, not everybody is going to come out of the course and have an opportunity to work in those forensic laboratories. You know, it might be that there's limited employment at a certain time in those areas. But because you've come through with a solid science degree, you can also get into other areas, other analytical chemistry and biology laboratories, where you're you know, developing certain products or testing products, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of the environmental things will actually have a forensic aspect to it as well. If you've done the criminology part, double degree, you may actually get into policy, and you can work in the parole field, you can work in the corrections department and areas like that where you're actually advising. We do have a lot of people doing research and getting into the research area. And of course, you can turn to the dark side and come to academia. You may actually do teaching. And I did mention earlier that we have this really, our students are really sought after because of their critical thinking in industries that you might not even think about, such as, you know, banking and things like that too. So, you know, we have a really wide range of possible employment outcomes for you. And with anybody, you know, your choices and your career focus may actually change as you go through the course. And you may end up doing a job that you hadn't expected, but you thoroughly enjoy. And we certainly want to give you those skills that will actually allow you to actually get into an employment opportunity, whatever you really want to do. And so we would fully support you in that. So we're now actually going to move on to our Q&A session. I'm sure many of you have got many questions, and we're more than happy to help it. I'll be here with some other colleagues as well, really keen to answer those questions for you. But most of all, would be really super keen to see you come to meet us at Deakin, and see you in these courses. Like I say, the teaching team is super enthusiastic. We've got a really good professional team behind us in terms of the laboratory technicians as well. And so we can offer you, we think, a really fantastic learning opportunity and first step into your career as a forensic scientist. So I'll have a chat to you in the Q&A session. Hopefully I'll see you there. I'll catch you later.